Here's the gist. Again, sometimes I worry when I share my story, it isn't as relatable or as relevant because everybody's path is different. I think for me, one of the reasons why freelance came easily was because I was a content creator first. So even as an immigrant person, I want to mention that, I wasn't born and raised in this country. So I had a lot of fear working as a freelancer, not because I didn't think I had the ability, but because I didn't really have the network. This is Faye again, and welcome to another episode of Feisworld on YouTube. And this is part of a mini-series that on our podcast called Freelance Minis. And today I want to cover some of the frequently asked questions. Just so you know, I don't really pre-record this and use the same material for my show. It's going to be different. So the video version is going to be slightly or a lot different than the audio version. I hope you enjoy it. Please send me any questions you have. So when I started podcasting nearly 5 years ago now, and between then and now, a lot of people come up to me and say, hey, do you still work? Meaning, do you still freelance? Do you still work full time? Or do you podcast full time? This question comes up so much from people who actually don't podcast. The reason is the moment you start podcasting, you realize that it's very hard to generate a full-time income or expect podcasting to be your entire revenue sources. So for us, when we started the company Feisworld LLC, it became very obvious that the podcast served as an amazing marketing engine to drive clients. Clients from the show, guests from the show, and then friends of guests, even some of the listeners who will reach out to us and to do business with us or even refer their friends. So it's been really good for us. But we have to admit, in this case, I need to admit that I have never thought about podcasting full-time, meaning podcasting only and not do anything else. So that leads to the second frequently asked question, which is, what exactly does Feisworld do outside of podcasting? So we do a lot outside of podcasting. I started my business specializing in branding. That means web design, web development, social media strategy. So if you're a digital marketer, you probably know exactly what I'm talking about. And some of that involves paid ads as well. But a lot of our effort and also our recommendation focuses on organic growth, content creation first. From web design development, we quickly realized that there's space and there's room for video production. Why? Because a lot of Feisworld clients will come to us and say, we don't want the about page to be a text format of us blabbing at our life. We want to do a little B-roll. We want to create these little short teasers, or some of them referred to as documentary trailers, like a mini documentary. You probably have seen those on YouTube. Some of them are like a minute or 2 minute long. Some of them are, up to 3 to 4 minute long. A great way to share your story with your audience. So we started doing that. Very quickly, we branched into live recording for some of our clients as well. My latest and most favorite content to create is online course. We've done online courses for Atherton twins from Cirque du Soleil. We recently launched a course for Alexander and Bono International. But we also do some of the smaller services such as, ACX, how to help authors translate their books and create these audiobooks and audio versions of their books. I'm sure many of you guys are familiar with that. I'm a huge fan of Audible. And so I have a very niche service as well for people who are interested in bringing their English or basically non-Chinese podcasts to the Chinese audience on Himalaya. So I have a little playlist, a little course that you can find on YouTube right now to launch your podcast on Himalaya, which is a Chinese platform with more than 530 million active listeners and users. And that, by the way, is twice the amount of people currently on iTunes worldwide. Related to freelancing and being a creative entrepreneur like myself, the next question is, okay, what about your income? Do you find that you could sustain a steady income? Here's the gist. Again, sometimes I worry when I share my story, it isn't as relatable or as relevant because everybody's path is different. Your personality is different. Your network is different. I think for me, one of the reasons why freelance came easily was because I was a content creator first. So even as an immigrant person, I want to mention that, I wasn't born and raised in this country. So I had a lot of fear working as a freelancer, not because I didn't think I had the ability, but because I didn't really have the network as some of the people who aren't immigrants. You grow up, your mom, your dad will introduce you to these people. You will have this built-in network. But as an immigrant, and if you're an immigrant watching this, it's really important for you to nurture and build those relationships. And, for me, starting Feisworld podcast was key. I was connected with so many unbelievable guests who were so genuine with their messages, with what they wanted to do for Feisworld, introducing us to their friends, their networks, and their clients. So by the time I went full-time freelancing, even though I didn't really have all the gigs lined up, I couldn't really tell you at the beginning how much I'll be getting paid for that year, for the year of 2016. I had more confidence than someone who were really stepping into the unknown. I started practicing working as a freelancer even before I went full-time, taking up gigs here and there, working some nights and weekends, and I absolutely loved it. It was the right thing for me. Yeah, for us, 2016, I was freelancing on my own, very lucky, had 2 to 3 very steady clients. I made about 2/3 of my full-time job, and I know that's really good. Anywhere between $60,000 to $80,000, something like that. And then 2017, what happened was I more than doubled my income because I did not give up any of the existing clients, and they scaled, they expanded and grew. At the same time, I got more clients, and the existing clients were giving me, more projects and things like that. But what happened that year, 2017, is I didn't really pay attention to my own health. I didn't listen to my body. I was not feeling or doing well. I was completely burned out, regardless of how lovely some of these clients were. I made a decision. I saved up the money that I made in 2017, and for the year 2018, I decided that I was going to hone in on new skills. I want to learn new things. I did not want to settle as a freelance project manager anymore. And by the way, that decision was really, really challenging for me because there was still a lot of money to be made. It feels like I was leaving money on the table, but no, I set aside the money and I put all of that into documentary filmmaking for Feisworld, our first docuseries. And that's what we did in 2018. So that year, surprisingly, somehow, some way, I was still making decent amount of money, with very limited time for clients. And I focus on the clients I really want to learn from and help grow. Uncomfortably into 2019, I realized my freelance career isn't about just making more money, but working smarter. So I spend energy, and I've recorded videos for you guys very soon to talk about affiliate marketing and how to make money in your sleep. So let's move on to the next question. How long did it take for you to go from working on the side, like side hustles, to freelancing full-time? I made a commitment, and I'll tell you why. I did not have 5, 6 different clients. I had 0 clients lined up when I started freelancing January 2016. I was committed because I had enough savings, thanks to 401k, thanks to the fact that I started saving very early on when I was 22. Those money didn't feel like anything at all. It felt so insignificant, wasn't gonna go anywhere, but it accumulated. And by the time I started freelancing at the age of 33, I think, I had saved up enough money for a year, I think more than a year really. So I didn't have to jump into something right away. I mean, I had a good understanding of what my expenses were, so I was comfortable. But guess what? When you're relaxed, when you feel confident, you attract the right energy and the right clients into your world, your freelance world. And like I mentioned just now, 2016 was a good year, and 2017 financially was a great year. But for me to figure out my lifestyle, what I want to do, my freedom in conjunction with a freelance career is something that I figure out over time. Next question. Are you partnering with other people to produce your podcast, your videos, your docuseries? Hell yeah, because I don't have a lot of those skills myself. If you go back to the beginning episodes, I don't know, first 20, 30, 50 episodes of Feisworld, I did all of that on my own. And my God, that was a lot of work. I was really frustrated. I had 0 background in audio engineering. In other words, I didn't even know what I didn't know. I didn't know how to edit everything together, but I did it anyway. And I really highly encourage you guys to figure that out, because On one hand, what you will learn is, however old you may be, 25, 35, 45, doesn't matter. You're going to learn something from scratch. And that is invaluable for an adult. Because I too felt like I should know how to write. I am, this age. I should know how to speak. Oh my God, I couldn't even record my own intro. I sound terrible. I don't know how to interview people. I felt embarrassed. I'm unprepared. I felt all of those things. It actually felt even worse when you start editing the audio, listening to yourself, and realize like your voice and the volumes are unbalanced. You didn't know what you were doing, but I figured all of that out. And I'm sure you can, because there are infinite videos on YouTube teaching you how to produce podcasts today in 2019, many courses out there. So yeah, make your ruckus and make all the mistakes you need to make and be proud of the outcome, because you will, like I am. Somebody had a question about Feisworld podcast. We started off as a variety show, and now people are saying, okay, what is your niche? And do you focus on personal development, self-help? We've heard from a lot of people on your show. What are you about? Truth be told, when I started the show in October 2014, I had no idea what I was gonna do. I want the show to be about the amazing people I meet in my world. And I didn't want to limit to just the people near me by proximity. I didn't want to cut people out. And for me, it was about, personal journal, personal development for me as someone who wants to continue to learn. And so we stumble across, medical doctors, coaches, executive coaches, Cirque du Soleil artists, circus artists from many other circuses. As a result of that, we now have a sub podcast called Circus from Feisworld. Go check it out. It's on Anchor, Apple, Google Podcasts, major platforms at this point. If you don't know what your niche is, please don't beat yourself up for it, because I did not know. Very few people knew from the very beginning. You have to figure out what that is for yourself. And, for example, I have a friend who is a salesperson and who decided to start a podcast about sales, how to be a better salesperson. And, my advice to him was, enjoy that. That is your jam. You know what you're talking about. But sometimes you find very quickly, for some people, as you continue your show, you find that you're really constrained by a single topic. So how do you break away from that? So we wanted to avoid that and figure out our niche first using a variety show. And that's why it's called Feisworld. It's not called Circus. It's not called Doctors or anything like that. So I'm glad we made that decision. And now we know our niche is to help independent creators and creative entrepreneurs live their creative and financial freedom, because you cannot really live without one or the other. Okay, the last thing I'll address, as this video is getting a little bit long, is was I scared when the work was low, when I was making the transition? A little bit. I'm very lucky. I have a network of people who truly support me. I have a partner who believes in what I do for my business. I have my incredible videographer, video editor, and podcast editor, Herman, who always cheers me on, and countless other people who play different roles in my life. And I couldn't be more appreciative. And I really appreciate a lot of these women too in my life, some older, some are younger than I am, and just cheering me on, and they will tell my stories to their daughters and tell me and reassure that I'm doing something important, even if it didn't generate money and revenue at the very beginning. And they were also very supportive to allow me to pursue something I love. I'm, just filled with energy. And when I was working 80 hours a week, making a lot of money in 2017, I was proud of myself financially, but physically, energetic, spiritually, I was just not there. I was not able to do the work that I'm doing right now. So I feel so grateful that I get to do this, and grateful for all the people, friends, mentors, my clients that are in my life to enable this to happen. So find your tribe, find people who believe in you, find people who want to help you, devote not their entire life, but some of their time helping you, point you to the right resources, connect you with the right people. You know who those people are. So surround yourself with those people, love them, have them love you and love them back. It's okay to ask. I hope you enjoyed this video, and it probably feels a little long-winded, but let me know if you have any questions, if any of this message resonates with you, and please share with one more person. Thank you.